Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 43 of Stat Check. This is Better Call Saul. It's the worst. I love it. Alternative titles include Call Me Maybe and
Nerf Votan again.
Yeah, Nerf Votan again. That's exactly right. Ancestral Sentience, more like Ancestral Jail Sentence.
That's right.
I hope everybody is having a great time. I hope any events that you were at this weekend went well. We are going to get straight into the show. I am Innes. I am joined by Jeremy and Anthony. Nathan, unfortunately, could not be with us this week because work reasons, I assume. And we're also joined by the best dressed man in 40K, Mr. TJ Lanigan, who is here fresh off his win at the Richmond something tournament.
Richmond Open. You almost had it.
There was like 15 lines in that text thing. Like it was like the Richmond Open run by or something like that.
Yeah, it was a Richmond Open run by away games, but like the name of the event
was too
was
many words. Like I got 2 words or one. It's all I got time for my titles. So anyway, welcome everybody. Thank you for being with us. Apologies that we are a couple minutes delayed here. Jeremy was having Excel is too big for computer issues. To call a mockingbird is not bad. I do quite like that one. I am watching Better Call Saul at the moment, though, so that's why it was fresh on my mind. Anyway, how has everybody been? Jeremy, Anthony, you've been off for 2 weeks. How have you been? Let's start with you.
I'm remaining off. It's pretty good. I spent Saturday in the woods with no service. Perturabo's book is so bad that I'd rather stare at the mud than read it, so I learned that. What else did I do? I finished Betrayer. I linked up with a buddy and talked about how we're going to do an Argol Tall conversion as a commission. That'll be pretty sweet. It's also not going to be done till like next year. Yeah, it was Eric.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's when the installment plans are done, right? That's when you get done with the installment plans.
Yeah. Well, his it's going to be his Golden Demon entry for Adepticon singles next year.
Hell yeah.
So about the same time that you'll get Codex Chaos Space Marines.
Crazy dog.
So yeah, it's gonna be pretty baller. I'm pretty excited about that. Nothing else super interesting. We saw Demons today. That was really fucking cool. I'm very excited about that. Demons will probably be the next army in my wider collection. It'll be them or Custodes currently vying for who I spend money on, which is a wild comparison.
You could have a steak or you could go to McDonald's. Like these are the choices you're choosing between right now. You should definitely consider McDonald's about equal to the steak.
Yep. Those are the options of the armies for me to play. To be fair, I've said this a couple times, but not like anywhere publicly. Like Custodes can be interesting. They just haven't been. There's a world where they make them like fast and dynamic and do a bunch of shit. And instead they've just been like drooling on objectives. So instead, hopefully, maybe now they'll be cool and interesting instead of lame, boring, and brain dead. So
what do you reckon the odds are they keep karate stances?
Not great, because like 2 karate stances is about as much text as every other army's entire army and detachment rule. So I doubt they stay.
We're gonna have enough cards too, right? Like we'll have enough cards on the table already. I don't need 6 karate cards.
I hope everybody's got their dual discs ready and waiting for 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Stat Check brand dual discs. Come and choose.
Shut the table like.
Oh, so that's what Richard Siegler had on his Lucius on his Rangers, right?
Yeah, on his Rangers. Yeah, they were Mars. I'm pretty sure. This ironically, this card you'll note is different from the rest of these because this is a Blood Tithe buff and it's the only one I've never used. And that is Resurrect Angron.
It's where it remains. It's where
you have to use that one to stack your Blood Tithe points on.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great whatever. Like I guess it's the paper that is weighted. I don't understand what you would use it for, but yeah, it's a nice useless card that comes in the already thin World Leaders pack. But yeah, we'll see.
You didn't use it in any of your Disciples games with Vibe Check?
No, Angron has never once been resurrected by me. If he dies, he stays there. Otherwise,
I guess he's earned it.
Yeah, exactly. He has 2 states, alive and dead. This shit is how you score fucking 10 on Pile the Skulls. Don't fucking do this.
Anthony loaned me all the rest of the cards, but kept that one so that I couldn't use it.
Exactly, it's true. Luke has my entire World Leaders army right now, actually. He has all of my cards. He has everything else except this stupid shit. Don't play Angron. It's bad for you kids.
Well, he doesn't. You don't have an Angron either, right?
No, I literally don't own one.
Yeah,
I'll get one for 10th, but Jim will finally get to paint a centerpiece model for me because it's the only thing that I never do. I'm just like constantly only grinding, the grind lord lists and never the actual like fun to paint models. So yeah.
I mean, if you'd actually owned your Nid army, you'd have had cool centerpiece models.
I do own a significant portion of my Nid army. My Maliceptor's in the other room, but it's not like a tyrant, right? So
no,
yeah.
Centerpiece stuff is like he goes as far as Drazar, Abaddon, and that's
that demon.
No Angron yet.
Doesn't respect
no Karn either.
60
You don't have a Karn
basically
either.
what we're getting at.
I have a Karn somewhere, but yeah.
It's never really hit the table though.
It did once. I played it exactly once, and then he failed to kill a unit of Votan bikes, actually, and then I took him out of the list, and he's never been back.
I mean,
All very
the new
on mine because Jeremy and TJ both had much more interesting weekends than I did.
Yeah.
I did basically nothing. My mom was away this weekend, so I got stuck with the dog. I got to watch the dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how dare you?
So I did some painting. I'm painting up a Gulliman and a Chaplain for my terrible White Scars list for my tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I gaslit myself into being like, it's only a Scottish Major. I don't have to win them all. And then
I heard
really
about this
sad
actually.
Oh, you're gonna win anyway. It's gonna be so sad.
Yeah, I heard you and Brian are taking some ridiculous lists, and Brian's like, and we're probably still getting into the finals anyway and play against each other.
Yeah, so I'm playing White Scars, 20 Terminators. So basically Rafra Faz's list from like a bunch of the UKTC events, but I'm like playing a worse version of it because I'm not like buying things for this. So I like converted a Chaplain. I don't have any shooting in it. I have like a Land Speeder Storm and a Land Speeder Tornado. And that's like it for shooting. It's gonna be good. So it's the basic gist is it's +4 to charge Terminators and +4 to advance Terminators.
When you cast your spell.
I built a lot of redundancy. The list starts with 4 CP, which I really don't know what to do with. That's a lot for me. And
look, his Iron Hand list started on none, so that's like
exactly
infinite more.
And then you've got the relic for +1 to cast. It's like a work charge 6 spell, so I need to roll a 5. So it's all my CP's going into. Like,
he doesn't even have a dial that goes up that high. His dial goes from like 1 to 3, 5. He doesn't even know.
No, because the Iron Hands list doesn't often spend CP. So sometimes you just have 6 sitting there. My game against I had one game against the Dark Angels guy where we both sat in the deployment zone and we both hit double digits. We both hit double dice CP, like 7 each, which was just like what's going wrong here. But yeah, that's been me broadly. Not really done much. Bunch of prep work for the tournament that I'm running. Obviously, getting everybody to do their lists and stuff like that. Everybody a baller to the White Scars Vanguard directly. Consolidate D6+6 into your DZ. Hell yeah, that's a fun strat.
Wild.
We gotta have a good time. It's gonna be great. All right, Jeremy, why don't you finish off with the main guys, and then we'll get to TJ's interesting weekend.
Sure. My weekend was pretty straightforward. I ran GT at our local. I was 34 players, I think. Most of them were regulars at the tournament. There were a handful of new attendees. Just went really smoothly. Nice and 5 rounds, WTC scoring. If you want to hear more about the event, you can read the UTC recap article. It'll be coming up later this week. But yeah, it was a really fun event. Got to watch a lot of really high caliber games. Got to watch Francois get absolutely scammed by the dice 3 turns in a row. It turns out when an orc player asks the judge to measure a charge and the judge says it's 11 inches, the orc player will always say, done.
Yep.
Rolls 3. Here we go. 12.
Every time. It's always on the here we go roll as well. They never just fail it the first time. They never.
And this is after he failed. I think it was 5 out of 7 charges turn 1 on his wall turn. I was just standing there thinking, Francois, you're in a really good spot right about now because nothing is connecting. And then turn 2, everything.
And suddenly he wasn't anymore.
Yeah.
Francois was only allowed to win that one tournament. Since then, the gods themselves have come down and intervened every time.
Well, he got his golden ticket, and now Willy Wonka's like the other kids get to play with the factory now.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it was very funny because this is my last event of 9th that I was running. The next event that I will be running will be most likely. GW's release schedule seems to hint at a June release for 10th, which means that our next event at the end of July, July 29th and 30th in Petawawa, is going to be a 10th edition event where, as we have been joking about multiple times, we're giving away 4 golden tickets.
Hell yeah.
How? The
best part is,
it's like 3.
this-
You have 2 players. 1 extra guy gets 1. Like, how do you need 18?
So
I wish
the best
that
part
event
about
wasn't
this,
the worst possible time.
the event originally was going to have 50 players and 4 tickets.
Oh,
What?
At which
Still
point
too
we
many.
said, no, this isn't right. So we expanded to 90, and we actually have the venue and the terrain to expand to 160. We just need, once we start hitting those ticket numbers, we just
Warhammer
need
had 1. It
I
was
know.
360 players run by GW. 1. Messed up.
They asked us how many tickets
Roll with
we
your
wanted,
country.
and we said, hey, it'd be great if we could get this many because we want to represent the Ottawa scene. We didn't realize that that there were another 9 tickets being given away in the Ottawa area only. And Dan Morris, holy shit, that is a very
Holy
generous
moly.
super chat.
Wow. Oh, yeah,
Really
dude.
good friend of the show, Dan. Just dropped a $200 Canadian super chat. That'll
Awesome.
stay up there for a while.
Love you, Dan.
We love you a lot.
Good luck with the World Eaters.
The what?
Oh yeah, Dan played World Eaters this weekend.
What a
and
change
I actually
of
want to talk about this
pace.
because this was amazing. Yeah, so it was our friend Dan Morris's, so owner of my local game store, one of the assistant coaches that works under me. Overall, just amazing guy. He runs events. He basically lets me run my events however I want. Basically, he decided that since it was his birthday weekend, he didn't want to have his brain drop out the back of his head playing 5 games of Genestealer Cult. And he had recently gotten his commission painted World Eaters army delivered to him. So he played with his World Eaters army. And he made the decision to do it, though, 2 days before the event. And so I had to give him a late list penalty. He also didn't have basing, so he was playing without paint all weekend.
Strong.
Round 1, he lost. He I think it was 66 to 86.
Oh, pain.
So it was a 13-7, but it would have been a 10-10 if he had paint and not the late list penalty. So that was okay. And then he won his next 4 games.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm
most of
Rooting
them
against Chris Haynes
convincingly.
and Nick Blackburn.
I'm
Like it wasn't a like an easy path through those next 4 games either.
right.
Because he went through as Innes just mentioned, he went through captain of Team Canada Chris Haynes. He went through one of the 3 people that have won GTs in the last year in Ottawa, Nick Blackburn, and friend of the show. And I can't remember his other 2
Trash
pairings. right now, but-
can.
Yeah, trash can.
Oh yeah, massive props to Dan for that, and thank you so much for the super chat. Also, Tim, why on earth did you send us money? I don't
Because he does it every show.
I know, but it really just feels like money laundering at this point.
I'm almost offended that Dan didn't ask me about World Eaters, but it's okay. I still love you, Dan.
To be fair, I think he watched enough of your games and listened to you because he was playing it from having watched both of you play in person now
I guess that's
very
fair.
similarly. So he
That makes
definitely
sense, then.
learned how to, because every single person he played was like, I've never seen someone play World Eaters like this.
Right. Yep, that makes sense.
That sounds awesome. That's
So yeah, that was my
Okay.
weekend. It was won by the event was won by Orc player Josh, who played exceptionally well, but we also joke coin flipped his way because he just went first in every matchup he had to go first in.
Like Brian and
He would,
Alpine.
he'd just deploy on the line, especially against Francois. He's like, I'm deploying on the line because if I go second, we don't have a game. If I go first, I can make a game out of it. And in every same thing against Tau, he was just like, on the line. If I go first, you're buried in bodies. And in both of those games, he went first.
Oh yeah.
And then in his finals, he actually had a draw against one of the Team Canada members, Jean, who was playing demons. Yeah, so that was fun. We handed out some invites to our July event. That's my weekend, and now I have a few weeks off. Like, I'm playing in an event at the end of May, but it's a joke to me right now because 9 doesn't count.
Completed it, mate. It's over.
Yeah. Speaking of 9 not counting, TJ, what'd you do this weekend?
Thank you for being with us,
Oh,
TJ.
man,
Thank you
I
for
went
bearing with us all doing our
to-
introductions.
I went to a 120-man event, and decided, you know what, Zinch is pretty good at those things. So it was Games Workshop terrain, which is pretty awesome. Away Games was running it. They're like a catering company that for 40K. So you just show up with a tractor trailer of just an entire event, and they roll it all out, and they run everything for you, and then they just leave from whence they came.
Is it like Aladdin style? They literally like roll a carpet out of the back and it just like pops up out of the.
Yeah, it was yeah, just like that. Like the table pops up and the terrain's there with a chess clock and a dice tray. And
he's there with the Zinch army like all ready for the tournament in that area.
So had some pretty great games. I had some great opponents all weekend. That orc scenario actually happened with Ganyo at his top table. I played next to him at the finals, and his opponent was like, "Yeah, I'm playing against guard. I can't win this game unless I go first. So I'm just going to put my entire army on the line. No one's hiding. No one's in reserve. If I go first, I win. If I don't, I lose." And then he just didn't go first, and Ganyo just killed like 700 points of his army on turn one. And he was like, "Yeah, that's how it be." So
just accepted his fate and died.
I mean,
do we have it?
Yeah.
Kudos to him for recognizing the win condition and just.
Yeah. I mean, he was super chill about it too. He was like, "Yeah, this is, he's like, I'm just happy to be up here," because he got paired up because he was the draw, so he got paired up to play against Ganyo. So
he was just like, "All right, fuck it."
Yep. So, it was super cool. I played, let's see, I played Death Guard round 1, Iron Hands, then Demons with some Scarbrand in it, then Orcs, Chaos Knights, and then Eldar, Uthway with some Eldar, with some Avatar action. So,
God damn it, Shuckman.
Yep. Mr. Shuckman himself up in the finals.
There's only one person that gets to go 5-0 with an Avatar in their list, and it's Matt.
Yep.
Oh, thanks, Nas.
Hey, thanks. Stat check winning events, but Richmond gets IT scores in. Well, yeah, that happens. Like I said, Away Games just runs everything. I was very impressed, actually. It's my first.
I would really like my IT points. I want to know where I am.
Yeah.
And it's validation.
I do. I desperately look, man. It's just all about the advertising, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like, we win events here. But yeah, so I had a great time. I was trying my Zinch list with Bellicor. I had won a GT the weekend before with it, like a smaller one just to test the list with. And I was like, you know what, we're going to test it out. This was Games Workshop terrain. And it did really, really well. Like, Bellicor single-handedly won me like 3 games. Like, wasn't even a question.
It's so cool.
So, but yeah, so that was my weekend. Had a great time.
Plus
the Bellicor data sheet.
Yes. Yeah, we can talk about new demons, man. I was pumped, man. That was a great reveal. Like the CSM one, I was like, there's some really good stuff. Abaddon's really strong. Like, I really like the way Abaddon looks. But then the rest of it, I was kind of like, Dark Packs are cool. Legionaries are not. We'll see about Obliterators. And then, like, I saw the demon reveal, and I was like, man, the strat, insane. The abilities, insane. Bellicor, ridiculous. Keeper, keep on looking at the next thing because that's fine. Keeper can be bad. It's all right.
It's okay. It's got a lot of rules. And a lot of
it's really good at not dying.
Yes.
And killing infantry. And
yep.
5 of Feel No Pain is a stat line on a mod still that big.
Yep. It's 100%. But I feel like I probably want slightly more out of my big giant greater demon than you can kill the fuck out of some intercessors.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to do something. Like, it doesn't go past strength 8, which is really scary.
In the old days, that was fine. That would have been okay. But
now it's like when you're going on 5s is a little sketch.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, you just walk up to a land raider and you're like, 2 maybe.
I guess we're both staying here.
Yeah. So
Scarbrand's look pretty good though.
Scarbrand,
I'm sure that one's Baneblades on 5s. So.
Yeah, Scarbrand looked real good. The only thing I can say about the reveal that I was kind of like, that's a weird choice that you would do this was Bellicor with D6 plus 1 damage on his sword. I was like, come on, bro. D6? We were past this.
Hell yeah.
You just had D3 plus 3.
I like the swingy.
Yeah.
Why do you like that? Why?
Yeah. No one else does, bro.
Because we play a dice game. The two of us on the top here are in agreement. I think it's fine.
It makes him, he keeps his ceiling. He loses his potential. He's a little less reliable. I think D3+3 was just in general a mistake, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, look at Scarbrand. We went from D3+3 to just flat 6.
Exactly.
I would
Yeah,
have
so
also
if they
taken
would have
that
done
for
the same
Belcourt.
thing. Yeah, I would
Actually,
have
I
been
feel
like,
like Belcourt doesn't need more rules. Actually, now
Yeah,
that
I
say
feel,
that
feel like
out loud.
Bellacor's already got this whole thing of like you can't lose the game turn one, which is real nice.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
No. Don't think about it. Nobody
Don't
would
think
move
about
6 inches forwards and shoot you.
but yeah, that looks
Just think about the
Looks
immunity
good.
to Votan infantry.
yeah. So I was real excited about that. That was definitely a nice surprise for a Tuesday. Get some good demon reveals. So
I can't believe they're not even doing an army reveal tomorrow. Unreal.
I know, it's ridiculous. What is it, sisters?
yeah, they're doing sisters.
Brian will be happy.
Even worse, they could have done agents.
I'd have
Brian will
taken
be happy.
agents. There are armies
Agents.
that are cool that can use agents.
Agents of the Imperium.
I just think, Anthony, maybe they will actually make sisters cool this edition as opposed to just like weird.
Whatever they normally are.
Yeah.
They were cool in like the beta codex in 8th
Yeah, that one was actually pretty fun.
when they had like weird like or acts of faith were like basically psychic tests. It was great. That was cool.
You know, I think I understand why you guys don't like them. You guys said you guys are, the stat guys up top, and like they just defy all stats because they just hold on to dice and go, yeah, so this dice is going to be what I want it to be, and that's just is what it is.
That's why I hate Eldar so much. So yeah. I get it.
Both
That
of
is-
them, the
You
dice
hated
mechanics are.
Eldar way before they had fate dice.
Sure.
I
but
was there.
You're not wrong, but I
Now he
do
has
it
a
for new
reason.
reasons.
Yeah, now he's
I'm
valid.
always happy to like continue writing on my little dwarven book of grudges.
That's fair.
That's true.
Right, Jeremy. Let's do the stats before
All
we
right,
procrastinated long enough.
let's go through this real quick, and then we can get back to some real discussions. Alrighty. So this weekend there were 12 GT Plus events. Real quick recap. We only look. People often ask me. And I got a couple messages in the last few weeks about events that didn't quite hit it. We look at 5+ round, 25+ player events. It's an arbitrary thing, but that's just what we do. We consider those events to be GT Plus. Events with 50 or more players to be majors, and then events with 100 players plus and 7 or more rounds to be super majors. Completely arbitrary, but that's what we stick with, and that's what we like. So of that, this weekend, there were, let's just take a quick look. There were 8 GT Plus events, and there were 4 majors. 3 of those 4 majors all had more than 100 players, but none of them went further than 6 rounds. In fact, the largest event, which is 160 players in Germany, only had 5 rounds. So there was something like 5 undefeated players at the end of the day. Stats for the week. I'm just going to do the usual top 5, bottom 5, and then notable ones. Rounding out the top 5, we have World Eaters with 36 players, making up 4.9% of the player population, with a 59.5% win rate.
Bringing it.
No event wins, 3 top
That's my
4s,
boys.
and 8 top 10s for an over-rep of 1.29. World Leaders continuing to go the X and 1.
Yeah, the whiskey dick of Warhammer.
Following that up, we have Chaos Demons with 62 players,
That's what's up.
8.4% of the meta.
That's a lot.
Demons
wanna
are
say right
so
now-
popular.
They are
Like-
the most popular faction on their own, and the second most popular when you put Marines together.
Which you do because
Whoa!
they're one faction.
Yeah,
Demons are so
fun.
popular.
the
Everybody's
next
got their
closest to
keyboard
them.
website.
The next closest to them is Guard. And I'll go through their numbers in a minute. But anyways, 8.4% of the meta, 58.6% win rate, 1 event win, which we have the man himself here, 4 additional top 4s for an over-rep of 1.25.
High win rate, but not really converting them out is basically the gist there.
Then we have Iron Hands. 33 players, 4.4% of the meta, so about half the number of demons, a 58.5% win rate, but 3 event wins, 5 top 5s for a 2.34 over rep. So
I
Iron
really
Hands
don't
won
use
a
beforehand
quarter of the
before I
events
have
this
any
weekend.
repulsors there were.
Iron Hands
Yeah.
won. Sorry, one more time. What was that?
3 event wins, 5 top 5s, 2.34 over rep, and a 58.5% win rate.
And 1 in
And
4
then
events were won by.
Then
Yeah, 3
one
out of the
person
12
really
events
do
this
that.
weekend were won by Iron Hands.
What was the Born Heroes Roman to Rage win rate?
You mean Master Artisans were
Yeah,
winning?
the good one.
Yeah.
I've had a day. I'm
I
sorry.
seem to remember it's like 62%, but I'll just double check to make sure
not
that I
so
am
bad.
actually correct about that. Iron Hands. All right, regular Iron Hands had a 55.3% win rate. Master Artisans War Winter Range had a 61.3% win rate. So you win 10% more of your games just by switching to successors.
I like that.
You should do that. I hear it's pretty good.
It is really good. And for the first time in many weeks, Master Artisans War Winter Range outnumber the Iron Hands players.
Oh shit!
Very
Finally
slightly,
did it.
but they're
finally
learning.
Convinced people somehow.
They're learning. They're learning.
It's learning.
Iron
It's
Hands-
scary.
Iron
only
Hands
taken
finally won the war on
4
Iron Hands.
years of the Iron Hand supplement to finally get people off of playing regular Iron Hands.
All right. Number 4 in our top 5 is Gene Stealer Cult with 25 players, 3.4% of the meta. They're starting to really come up there. A 58.3% win rate, but only 1 top 4 and no event wins for an overrep of 0.62.
It's because Eric was at a team tournament.
Yeah, pretty much. And then rounding out the top 5, we've got Astra Militarum, 46 players, 6.2%. So our second most common player base, third when we put Marines together like we do, with a 58.3% win rate as well. And they had 5 top 4s and no event wins for an overrep of 1.68.
I don't know.
Why does the
Dark
bottom,
Horse
why does the bottom 5
the
always
winning
make me
games thing,
sad?
just not the winning tournaments thing.
Yeah.
Did Knights not win like 2 events this weekend, by the way?
Tyranids. That is an interesting one. They won 1 event and had 2 top 4s with a 48% win rate and 3.5% of the meta. So there was one more Tyranid player than Gene Stealer Cult player,
Mid
but they
players can't
won.
be converting better than you. You need to buck up.
No, the other one that was actually interesting was Leagues of Votan, hence the name of this weekend. 41 players, 5.5% of the meta. They are way up there in terms of representation. 56.1% win rate, 2 event wins, 4 top 4s for a 1.51 overrep.
I saw that event win. That event win was on War Games Live.
It was.
I think they need to be nerfed again.
Yeah, but we got like a month left in the edition. Who cares?
Nah, fuck them.
No. Here's the thing. 10th, they'll pay for the sins.
I think
perfect.
Votan and World Eaters should get nerfed in that we're watching World Eaters balance data thing that's coming up. The one they mentioned. We're keeping an eye on World Eaters and Votan.
All right, let's go through the bottom 5. They just make me sad. Actually, I'm going to go through like the bottom 8 because they all make me sad. So at the very bottom, we have Raven Guard, but they had 4 players, so I don't care. The bottom army that had more than 10 players was Salamanders, making up 1.8% of the player pool, a 32.4% win rate, and 1 top 4, which gave them an overrep of 1.19.
What the fuck is going on?
Was it in the Pacific Northwest? Like that's all I got.
So actually, it was the Death or Glory Invitational that had like 5 Salamander players, or something like that. I was going through the stats. I was like, why are there so many Salamander players in whatever that is, Midwest?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I don't actually know where that event was.
Maybe they read the list from the weekend before and were like, "That looks good," and then played it, and we're like,
And then just went for it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And then went on average 2 and 3 as a collective.
Hell yeah, dude.
Following that up, a tier for our Silver Brethren, Grey Knights, 21 players, 2.8% of the meta, a 39.6% win rate, and no event wins, no top 4s, but 4 top 10s.
All right.
Nice. Okay.
Somebody
knows how to play the army.
Yeah. Our COG boys, Adeptus Mechanicus, 10 players, 1.3% of the meta, a 40.6% win rate, no event wins, no top 4s, and 1 top 10. So
there was
0.
One guy there this weekend with AdMech. Not only was he playing AdMech, he had a flyer.
Oh no.
Yep.
What year?
Right. I'm actually going to keep going up the ones that are below 45 because these kind of are very amusing. Death Guard had 20 players, 2.7% of the meta, a 40.6% win rate, 0 event wins, 0 top 4s, and 1 top 10.
Rough.
Yeah. I played that round
good going,
1.
Death Guard. Well,
Dark Angels.
That tournament win is just saying
What?
Whoa!
What?
Dark Angels, 22 players, 3% of the meta. So they are below, I think, half of their peak of arcs. 22 players, 3% of the meta, a 41.6% win rate, no event wins, 1 top 4, 2 top 10s, and it makes a 0.7 over rep.
Have they considered playing Stalwart Whirlwind of Rage?
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, they
We're so happy to see it.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, you love to
I
see
feel
it.
good because I'm no longer playing the meta faction.
Yeah.
I have no shame in kicking an army when it's down. Go and play the Lion. Go and have fun.
Yeah.
He's primed. I will eventually paint him. Maybe I'll bring him to my
Strike him.
invitational at the end of the month.
Lion and 2 Talamasters, Jeremy. Do it.
I wish I could bring 3. Anyways, and then just to make McWhirp sad, Adeptus Sororitas, 17 players, 2.3% of the meta, a 43.9% win rate, no event wins, no top 4s, and a single top 10.
In an ideal world, they'd be worse, but alas, we got what we got.
Oh, actually, let's make Anthony sad at the same time.
Oh, no.
Drukhari,
Oh,
15
Drukhari.
players,
Wow.
2% of the
I
meta,
don't even play Drukhari, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
44.2%
You let triple
win
panelists
rate,
go 4-1.
1 event
Fine.
win.
You had
One
so
top
many
4.
messages about Talos be getting core that you're definitely still a Drukhari player.
What about my sons, man?
Your Thousand Sons?
Yes.
Your Thousand Sons had 7 players, so I wasn't going to mention them, but I will do it just for you. 0.9% over rep of the total meta, a 45.5% win rate. So they
That's
are
not
back
bad.
in the Goldilocks zone. So they're fine.
Yeah.
GW
they're
fixed them
fine.
with the abhor
Completely fine.
change.
Obviously, the abhor fixed it. They were a problem
Exactly.
before, but abhor made them. Yeah.
Chaos Space Marines are sitting at 44.3% win rate. 1 top 4.
Good lad. Well done, Tim.
The only other one of note is Orcs. They're sitting at a 51% win rate. They won 1 event this weekend and had 3 top 4s for a 1.36 over rep. And there were 34 players.
Okay.
But that's the highlights and
players
stats
have-
from the weekend.
Our players have
The-
kind of comfortably settled into the. We know our faction can win things, just most of us aren't trying that hard. Then I'm okay with Orcs being where they are.
There's a lot of orcs at my event this weekend. Like,
Yeah, there were
What the army?
3 at the GT that I was running.
Yeah.
But only 1 that was really doing well with them.
It's Gazgul in a battle wagon at my event next weekend. I'm very excited.
Nice. He's
Hell
going to roll
yeah,
the 1 on the
dude.
disembark.
Yeah, and kill Makari in the boss knob, and then Gazgul can get out all angry.
3
Nailed
ones.
it.
I really hope he rolls 3 ones. Yeah.
All right. That's everything.
see,
The Assassinated Abhor helped my
We got
11 character T-Sun list.
Yeah,
Sure.
Wait.
Gaming. But I still don't win.
Ah.
Oh, all right, Seb. I'll look at Harlequins. Harlequins. Where are they?
They're
Harlequins
just
had 10.
gone. No one played them. Just-
Well, here's the problem: is that Harlequins these days barely hit the 10-player mark, so I usually just don't pay attention to them.
Yeah,
So
but
they're in
Harlequins-
all the winning Craft World lists. So
yeah, they just get
Yeah, and
rolled
that's
into
the thing.
Eldar,
They-
rolled into Yanari.
They are in all of the Yanari and Craft World lists. So they do just fine there. But Harlequins had 10 players at 1.3% of the rep. They had a 51.2% win rate, so perfectly fine there. They just didn't have any top 4s, so clearly they're not convincing.
it's the problem with a small faction like Harlequins is once you're not the best faction, everybody abandons you and just puts their Harlequins into their Eldar army because
Yeah,
everybody
like if
has
we
one
look
anyway.
at the last 3 weeks worth of data, I might not be able to do this because it might not work. Yeah, I can do it. We only had 21 players. They made up 1% of the meta, but they had a 52% win rate. Like 21 players over 3 weeks is nothing. It's more that they've just been abandoned wholesale in favor of like Swift Strikes, Masterful Shots, Light, which I see tons of.
Yeah, that's
It
very
turns out that
common.
list is really good, and like Vic's playing it, so you know it's the best list in the game.
Yeah.
True. Actually, yes.
I'm so mad. I love it.
So yeah, that's the stats. Feel free to poke questions in either the Discord or in chat, and we can come back to it during our regular discussion. But shall we move on to our meta and weekend discussion?
Yeah, let's do it.
Indeed.
Anybody got a particularly interesting topic they want to talk about? Or anybody in chat want to like start like listing off cool topics that we can just riff off of? I'm happy to do either way. Anthony, when are you getting a haircut?
We are 2 pounds away, so
Hell
here
yeah.
we go.
Hell yeah.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, me too. I am very over this.
I'm sure Hannah's very excited too.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine she's not excited.
I don't know. She might like the hobo Anthony.
No,
It's
I'm
great
not.
to the stick of the dump and the thing from the ring in the same room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see Anthony in 2 weeks, and I hope it's a shaved, a very kempt Anthony.
Yeah, back to normal.
Yeah,
Um,
gonna open the door and Shaggy's gonna walk through. And okay,
It wasn't him.
yeah, that's true. That was very good.
that was good.
Anthony should tell us about his new Demons Army.
I'm actually like doing that as a thing for Sigmar anyway. TJ's painting it, as a matter of fact.
What
Yeah,
reveal have you guys been most excited about so far?
Abaddon or Bellicor? Not.
Rapid Ingress, obviously.
Oh God, fuck! That's gonna ruin the game.
It's so bad.
We are probably taking bets on how long and how hard Rapid Ingress gets nerfed. I think that might be a betting pool we put together. Once we have a bit more of the defensive rule, we get all the podcasts to put a bet in for that. I reckon by the first balance data slate, it's 2 CP and once per game.
Get back in the boats, boys.
Yeah.
Someone
For
start.
reference, Rapid Ingress is the 1 CP deep striker during your opponent's turn.
Oh, Sam, why do you hurt me like that?
What do you do?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
That's
one
not
where
a question we can ask.
I thought you were talking about the one where you can get back in the transport when you get charged. That shit's stupid too.
No,
Oh,
they mentioned that's just something that
just
a
for
repulsor can
repulsors.
do, but they haven't actually said how it works. So I guess we have to
Okay.
wait for the repulsor data sheet.
However,
Yeah.
I am very glad I have a painted repulsor because my Desolation Wings are going to be a menace.
I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, Sam Lemon asked, which podcast is the most dead? Chapter Tactics, Biff Bot, or Can Hammer?
Ooh, nice.
Ooh,
I feel hurt being lumped in with the other two.
it's obviously Fight Club. Come on.
That's true.
True.
Or Frontiers.
Oh, got him on his own thing. No.
How can Frontiers can't be dead if it never lived?
Oh.
It had towels on it.
Okay. Grant asks, what will you do the first time a mid player shatters in the warp zone and heals your whole army? TJ, I feel like that one's into you.
Yeah.
What'd he say?
When nids are gonna hit you with shadows in the warp as demons, and it'll just heal your
Okay.
whole army because it makes you battle shock.
I mean, if we're playing Bellicor, he just gets to reroll those battle shocks, so I'll be okay with that. I'm
gonna
just
laugh.
excited to see how much damage they can do when they do their once per game. Everyone on the table just gets just wrecked. So that should be really funny. And then I get to heal most of it, so that will be funny too. Like you'll be like, "Oh man, you killed all this shit," and be like, "Anyway, my turn." Shadow form. So
No,
everybody,
if they do it on you,
free.
you just heal anyway on that initial one. Like it doesn't even it's not even a separate thing.
Yeah, you can
Oh
heal
right,
on
it's
both.
literally at the same time. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
kill it, then I heal it, and then yeah.
Well, no,
I
Battleship
just
doesn't do
realized-
damage to you.
Yeah.
All of those weapons that trigger battle shock on an
Oh
impact.
yeah, are terrible.
Although I
Yeah,
think all of them do have a choose a unit that was doing with this, so you don't have to do it. But it would be very funny if it's after resolving
It's just
attacks.
like, I'm not playing my trap card. I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'll just be looking at it and be like, "I'm sorry, you want to battle shock me, right? That's a battle shock
Do you
weapon."
want to battle shock? Do you want to battle shock me? Do you want to battle shock me?
Sure,
Do you want to
yeah.
battle shock me? To the start of every phase.
Yep, nids are gonna do the same thing. Be like, "Hey man, you got that once per game thing? Don't forget, look, bro. It's turn one." I'm like, "I know what it is. Shh. You want to use it?"
Yeah, do you want to use it right now or never?
now.
I will
Yeah,
say,
that's
I want to actually say this. GW has actually done an extremely good job of consolidating all of the information and all the previews into a single article that they've been updating every day,
Yeah, nice.
where you can just go through and the article is literally called Warhammer 40,000 New Edition, everything you need to know. And it starts from the announcement, goes through the initial new unit previews, and then goes through and then links all of the faction focuses in the same place. And all
That
of
is
the rule changes that they've
I think
released. I'm just
Goonhammer
like,
has a rolling article that they're updating.
yeah,
every couple
that
of
one's
days as
even
well,
better.
which has like everything, like all the like stuff that was just spoken about, like in seminars and things like that as well.
Including
Great
links to every single article. It's
Yeah.
the
So
two of them
we're
are
a little spoiled having a bunch of people who are doing good things for us.
Yeah. People taking the time to take care of things that no one else wants to do, like compile information.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the things that I'm willing to bet there's a bunch of people, us included, who are holding on to a bunch of cool things they want to debut because
Yeah.
10th is coming, and they're like, we'll just start it with 10th
Do it
with a
with
fresh
10th.
data set, fresh information.
Yeah, like Games Workshop's app.
exactly.
Because
That
apparently
was a
the
joke.
current app can't
It's not-
handle the new army rules.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
definitely
not
going to start
coming
using TTBA properly this time.
back. It doesn't exist, guys.
But it
Yeah,
might.
contact lost. It's incredible how 6 faction focuses in, they still have issues with letting us know what the next faction focus is at the time when the article
Because they're
drops.
trying to protect you.
They're
trying to
getting
protect you from
better.
the knowledge.
This time it was like a half hour after the article came out that they updated the sheet to show that Sisters was tomorrow.
I think
we
it's
should do some overreaction. Be like, I think Zinch is just gone from the Codex because it wasn't in that article.
Yeah, but they put the
bird is the
the bird's on the cover.
the bird is
The
on
bird's
the
and they
cover,
mentioned
and then not
specifically in
talked
the
about at
allies
all.
rules.
Yeah, they don't even preview his weapons.
Nope. They
But
don't
remember,
produce
Lucius the
weapons.
Turtle is all that exists for Emperor's Children now.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
That was definitely a funny like.
How bad is it though to feel your faction's just gone, bro?
Yeah. How do you know you're not an Emperor's Children anymore?
Like you're not getting battle line noise marines. Promise
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized
man.
that is sad.
Well, they were like, guys, we need to show Tubby. I'm like, oh shit, but his rolls are still really bad. It's fine. Just show the fact that he can use both hands. And you're like,
To be
all
fair,
right.
when you have this much muscle mass, you got to be because like it's really hard to reach over yourself when you're this
Who's
large.
got,
Yeah,
like,
he can't
triple
scratch his back
one.
now with his knife.
So,
Yeah, he's got
you
like
got
a
to be
triple.
like pretty ambidextrous.
I do like that they finally clarified in today's preview, finally, that you choose one melee weapon that a model is equipped with, because I was getting really tired of telling people that Gilliman and Abaddon didn't have like 20-something attacks.
I longed for the world where they
The
did.
number
That
of
would've
people
been
who
sick.
genuinely
That
thought
would've
that was
been
actually
sick.
hilarious. In the
It would
Discord.
have been funny. It also would have been a terrifying world to live
It
in.
was like trying to explain to people that no, you can't give your Chaos Sergeant 2 chainswords and he's got 10 attacks. Like that's
Why
just not
not?
going to be a thing.
That would
Every now and
correlate.
then at my GTs, I do have someone who walks up with the question of, hey, it says I can make 1 additional attack and I have 4 attacks. Does that mean I make 8 attacks with this guy?
Hell yeah. That guy's awesome.
And you're
In this
there like,
case, it was a
yeah,
World
and
Eaters
that
player, and he
applies
was
to my
asking about his-
eviscerators, right?
He was asking about his 8-bound with an eviscerator.
Yes, and he has
Oh.
2. So he gets to make 2 for every
Yeah, that guy
attack.
gets 15 attacks, right?
Yeah.
Now, he was asking me this in battle round in round 3 of the tournament, so I got really worried about what happened in the previous 2 games. He did lose those first 2 games, so I wasn't that worried.
Okay, so probably
Imagine if you
not.
lost while doing that.
We had
He was running World Eaters with Chaos Demons, which, as the stats have shown, drop your win rates. Don't do that, kids.
yeah. We had a
I need,
similar
to decide
thing
what
happen.
meme. I need to decide what meme to run for my last RTT. I'm currently on Nid's plan, but I could definitely meme it up with like
Just do like go back to the Jormungandr and Big Bugs.
Yorm.
I'm tempted, but I don't know.
Do Gorgon.
No, I have professionals have standards.
Come on.
Yeah, Grant. You never know what to ask. What until you ask what the TL will say. My player should.
Shoot your shot kick. That's what we call angle shooting in the business, Grant.
That's true. Yeah.
If anyone who I knew asked me that kind of question, I definitely would be punting them into 10th edition before the event was over.
Oh.
Although we
I-
are go ahead. Orcs.
Nope.
And it should play orcs.
Look, there is no amount of money on the planet.
That's just not true.
You know that's not true.
I know it's
like
not true, but
it's
it's
like-
also a challenge.
it's
So
like $50, if that. It's like a munchie box and a high five.
I'm getting up at 6 a.m. I'm getting up for a 6 a.m. train to go to this tournament. No.
Okay, so 2
Come on.
munchie boxes.
Yeah.
Nope.
God, I want a munchie
I
box.
bought a metal hive tyrant for this tournament. I'm using him.
Is this your last event?
9-5 tyrant?
It'll be it's the last one I have scheduled for 9th edition. I don't think I'm
So I
doing
think-
anything after this.
I think you guys are all done, right? This is everyone's last event. You have 1 more, right, Kiri? 3 more.
I have 2 more. I have this weekend and next weekend.
Ooh, Anthony's over there like, nah, I don't even know what 9th edition
think
is.
I
I
have
have,
one-
I have one more 9th edition tournament.
Yeah, you have,
Sure.
Kansas doesn't count. You guys are just going to go and then accept the trophy and then walk
mean?
away.
It's actually not an event. It's like a coronation. Like you
there's
just
two-
get there.
There's
hand
2
you the
things
trophy.
at least that I'm aware of that will have to work when we play them.
Yeah, I've got an RTT
Yourself?
next week. I've got a invitational GT for our league system at the end of the month last weekend, and then I've got a team tournament on what is supposed to be the pre-order day.
Hmm.
That I'm
I haven't
driving
heard that in a
that we're
while.
driving 6 hours for. But we signed up for it last fall before we knew when the edition was dropping. We just knew that something was coming, and we were like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. It'll be about the right time. Turns out it's a terrible time to go, but we've already paid and booked hotels and everything, so we're just like, let's just go.
Yeah. I haven't heard
If
that
the-
word in a long time. RTT. What is that? What is an RTT?
Well, in this case, it's actually just beer hammer in the basement, and we're gonna play Tempest of War because we want to just
Hell
fuck
yeah.
around for a weekend.
Okay.
An RTT is a thing you do when there's only 2 GTs a year in your country, TJ.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
And you run one of them. So,
I mean, I've
RTTs, how you fill the gap.
too. So, I think I have Maryland Open, maybe Maryland Open, Kansas City, and then ACO, maybe. ACO is like right on the cusp because like it's literally either the week before the new event, the new edition, or like the week of the event.
So what,
Yeah,
the 17th?
Yeah, it's the 17th.
That's gonna be a crap weekend for 9th edition.
Yeah,
also,
like I've played like a week of 10th edition now. I'm not invested in this.
Well,
Yeah.
it's it's also a frontline event, so
it is also a frontline event. It's also player place terrain, but I think Solus is the head judge for it, so it's probably one of the only reasons I would go.
I do love Solus.
Solus is a wonderful human being, and I've heard through the grapevine that Solus is also being given more power in terms of making decisions on how the events are being run, which is just an excellent thing because he should be empowered to do whatever the fuck he wants with those events.
Yeah.
But Atlantic City's rough because like they're going to use the same hall, and that hall is.
I think that hall. I actually quite like the ACO like venue. ACO is just expensive as shit for what it is.
Yes. Yeah. They also don't have streaming in that room because reasons.
Oh, I don't mind that.
Dumfries asks, where's the RTT? It's quite literally in my buddy's backyard.
Nice.
I have no idea which RTT he's talking about. We spoke about like 4 RTTs there. Mine one's in Glasgow.
I'm interested to see what Kansas City Open, the singles, is going to look like because
there's a singles event in that?
I'm going.
They added it.
TJ's
going to get just a team event.
TJ's going to get a GW sponsored golden ticket for that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's quite a nice feeling. I'm looking forward to finding out the full details of mine. Nas got his email a couple of days ago, so
nice.
He got his for adapting on.
I still don't have any of my details for my golden tickets, so
you should maybe chase them. You have to like send an email about it, I think. So
Scary sent me an email and he was like, "You are accepting this ticket," and he's like, "You can go," and I said, "Yes, I can go." And that was the last I heard from it. So I'm assuming everything's cool.
You should poke him about that.
Yeah, I got given a code and a contact email. I was like, you should contact this person about it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're given a code and then told the email.
Oh, yeah, I did that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, so long as they've given you that acknowledgement, that's basically the end of it because Barry Bash didn't have the funds to do any kind of support. But they knew you were going to go because...
I definitely will, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't even asked if I was going to go when I won mine. They were just like, here.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be such a good event. Anthony, if you don't win that tournament, if you don't win a ticket, by the way, we're going to be disappointing you forever. Like, you better win Kansas City.
Yeah, we're going to try real hard. There's 2 teams that can take it off us. There is Tundra Tactics, which is, to my understanding, is like Oliver Smith and Gagno and Cam and Eric and Brad Townsend, which is a really good team. And then there is the basically actually Team USA is running a team that Sean is playing on. So that team is quite good.
That could be a real challenge for you Art of War boys.
Yeah, so we'll have to sweat and work in those 2 rounds, but I think pretty much any other team that shows up at the event we will dispatch without too much drama. So I'm quite confident in our unit.
It's only because Team Studcheck couldn't get over there.
That's true. But
Brian got a physical ticket. I was very disappointed in that. I really did want my.
I will say that was the one really nice thing about mine. And yes, I do keep this at my desk because it just is really nice.
That's fair. I keep my big metal thing like close at hand at all times in case there's a burglar. So
that too.
Because someone else has to pull the bed besides you.
We were gonna go. We were gonna try to make Ennis go. We were trying to convince Brian to come over and snipe some tickets.
Oh, he would have had to fund Pumbaa as well, 100%.
Oh yeah, it would have been a bit of a process.
No, I think it's okay. We can let the Art of War guys have their nice easy layup.
Ooh, that's a good question, Sam asks. Is KC teams differential or win-loss?
It's like a bit of both. It's like if you win all the games narrowly, one blowout doesn't break you or something, but it's mostly differential, is my understanding.
Okay.
So like you can win 4 narrowly and have someone get dumpstered, and then it's like close, but you're probably fine.
Because I was talking to someone the other day. I was helping them get ready for a team tournament. And they were like, "Yeah, it's battle points."
No.
And I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. I mean,
God, I wish.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, Casey isn't like that. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with it. I know they're like, my understanding is that the table setup is like 2 of one layout, 2 of another, 1 of one more, and then it's like you pair, like you would pair in 5-mans. But it's not snaked. So if you win the roll, it's like you get first, third table choice, which is like what? But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Dan Salmons is saying you can win around with 2 out of 5 wins with good differential. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But if you win 4 narrowly, you're fine.
okay.
But I don't know.
I'm assuming
Anthony's not read the pack. He's just going to show up with the world eaters and get put on a good table and said kill.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly the same as Alpine.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
if he
like, I
gets
don't know
Harvey
about this
back.
matchup, and then I'm gonna bring back a 14, and I'll be like, I don't know, I got crazy.
Yeah, if
Right, let's do
he
the
gets his army
plugs.
back, we're gonna make sure he doesn't get his army back.
Right. I have the plug sheet. I sent it to Cliff, but I only sent him a picture, which means I continue to call it the essence.
Get it.
Cool. Hey everybody, thank you for watching Stat Check. We really appreciate you guys all being here. We couldn't do this without you, and we really appreciate it. Chuck a like. Somebody said in the chat, 50 viewers, only 7 likes. Come on, guys, like the stream. It's not that hard. Thank you, Tim. Other Tim, not our Tim. If you're in a position to, we would love you to check out our Discord and our Patreon, which is patreon.com/statcheck. That gets you access to all of us almost all the time. We are perennially, terminally online, and you can massively chat shit with us or argue with us about anything and everything from 10th edition to objective control, which is Anthony's new favorite way to do math. Otherwise, there's a bunch of things you can do to help us out on the side, which is just the social stuff. So chuck a like on the video, chuck a subscription at the YouTube, anything like that. I think it's follow on Twitch. I've not used that in a while. But yeah, we would really appreciate that. Tell a friend. Tell a friend is the best way. It really gets us out there, and it's really appreciated. We also have a couple of other shows on the network. We have X and 1 and Into the Matrix. X and 1 is our bi-weekly show that's run by, Cliff and Tim, who are dads and operating with 40K within the framework of having a life outside of 40K, which is not something I can relate to personally. And they do a bi-weekly show that was last week. And so there will be a show, and that was with Jim Stanley, who is a commission painter and all-around wonderful human being, and also Anthony, who was there too. They covered, Anthony, do you want to very briefly talk about what you covered?
Yeah, we went over, so Jim had kind of like a tumultuous experience in 9th where he was like not having a good time, and then like we started playing together and it went really well, and then he like had a bit of a rough patch again, and then X and 1 kind of like relit the fire, and he talks about that, what being a commission painter in the hobby space is like, and things of that nature. It's a really good show. Listening to Jim is great.
Yep. And we also have Enter the Matrix, which is the show that's run by Typhus of Team Poland. And that is all about the team format and Warhammer within the framework, especially focusing on the WC. Typhus recently put out an article, which you can find at stat-check.com/articles, which is all about pairing and building teams, specifically focusing on the Birmingham team tournament, which is coming up later this month. Excuse me. You can find all of our video, all of that on either wherever you find your podcast or at youtube.com/c/statcheck. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you can also get access to all of our bonus content, which is also on Patreon. We've recently released the full bonus episode for our breakdown of the Alpine Cup. So if you want to hear about that, that's the place to go. Finally, myself and Typhus both offer coaching. If you're interested in hearing from either of us in a more one-to-one, whether you want to work on gameplay, a list for a tournament, anything upcoming, preparing for 10th edition, all these kind of things, do reach out. We would love to hear from you. That is stat-check.com/coaching, or email us at coaching@stat-check.com. We would love to hear from you. It's been a really productive couple of weeks recently with helping a bunch of people out with Iron Hands, which is, tell them to stand still and shoot, but in really cool and interesting ways. That article, as Content Law says, that article by Typhus is still, it was a really good read. I've been doing team format for like a decade now, and I was learning things from him. It was a pleasure to work with him. If you're interested in team coaching at all, I would definitely recommend you check out Typhus. He has a wonderful brain for the thing.
Even just doing a team event with those boys was super like enlightening.
Yeah, it's definitely like, oh, there is things I can take from this, despite having done this for a long time. Hopefully, the same went backwards because you always try to be learning and teaching, right?
Right.
Like I learned a bunch of stuff from Anthony, like how you can just say all your matrices are yellow and win anyway, and people will think you're a hero. Even though you were actually green on your matrix, you're just lying.
I can't account for the fact that my opponent's going to make mistakes. I just don't know where they're going to make them and how many points that's going to get me. I'm giving you a floor. I'll bring back the floor. Sometimes
You do always have to take that into consideration. Like that, sometimes they make no mistakes and it's a 10.
Yeah, I'm getting you 8 to 12, bro, on the bottom. But sometimes someone fucks around and then they find out, and maybe demo charges aren't super good into 8-bound, and you get a 20. So it'd be like that sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes. So thank you, everybody. As I said, it's always a pleasure to be here every week. We are going to roll very quickly over into Discord questions. If you have a question and you're not in the Discord, you can chuck it in the chat. We will get around to as many as we have time for. If you really want to make sure it gets answered and you're not in the Discord, chuck us a super chat and we will 100% answer your questions. But otherwise, we're going to be rolling into the Discord questions now. Let's go and find the Discord questions.
I'll kick it off.
Go
I've
for
got
it.
them all open here. All right. This is kind of continuing a conversation that we trailed off at the end of the last episode, but I wanted to bring it back up because it is an interesting discussion. How would you all propose any new league, circuit, whatever, deal with bad actors, bad sports, reputed or confirmed cheaters, and so on? This is asked in the context of the UTC, the Unified Tournament Circuit, kicking off in the northeast of the US and eastern Canada.
As far as like the Scotland scene goes, we have a tournament TO chat that we just keep a log of anybody who's gotten yellow cards, and then if they hit like a couple of yellow cards over a period, they start on a yellow at the next event, and that's kind of all you can do. Like it's not public facing because you don't really want to get in crap for it, and you don't want people to know that they're starting on yellows because you want to like it's nice to have a lot of people, but you don't necessarily want them to know in advance that people are being warned about them. Without the context on it, but it's always a tough line to walk because at the end of the day, most people running these things are volunteers and just don't want to catch the heat for it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't want to get into arguments and have to deal with telling grown adults off over a game of toy soldiers. It's just not a thing I particularly enjoy spending time doing. So it's always hard to find the incentive in there. Obviously, the incentive is the people around you have better games, but trying to solve that with conversations is maybe better than trying to solve it with strict structures.
Yeah, and I can say the same thing for running events for the last couple of years. By local, I mean all of Ontario, so pretty big player base. We have a TO chat where we log cards that come up, interactions that happen, and also interactions that we are told about by TOs outside of our region about our players. So we had a player who had been carded at an event locally, and then a week later, he was red carded at an event down in the States. And so we were just like, okay, we need to have a chat with this individual because this is a really bad pattern that is starting to form, and people are complaining. And that's where, as TOs, we really need to take action. Ideally, it never reaches that point. The discussions are had earlier on, and issues are addressed. Players take breaks, however it ends up coming about. And it never reaches that point, but it did reach that point with this one player. In terms of the circuits as a whole handling it, it's really difficult because no formal group ever wants to be dealing with disciplinary issues, even though in the interest of making the experience better for players, it's something that has to be done one way or the other. Because a lot of the time it's you don't want to catch heat. You don't want to catch the blowback. In some cases, reputed or confirmed cheaters are part of larger groups, part of larger teams that will take their side in things and will defend them or boycott your events or do whatever that makes your life as a TO miserable if it's not handled very delicately.
Yeah, definitely can be rough.
It's very easy to burn a bridge, and you have to be, especially if running events is contingent on that group showing up. Especially we had that in Scotland a while back, where there was a group of 5 people that always traveled with one guy who was a huge cheat, and we eventually were just we can't keep this up and just cut the tie, and event size suffered for a bit, and you just kind of have to deal with that, I suppose, because the work you really want the business. But
Well, we had a really good example of that actually locally. So we run. Oh, I'm not directly involved with it. I'm just a rules guy. But there's an Ontario league that runs 2-3 seasons a year. That each city or region, sub-region within the province will run their own league. And one league, the coordinator actually suspended the league because he identified that bad actors were ruining the experience for everyone else. And rather than just, he wanted to make an example of this is what happens when you ruin the experience for other players. You just don't get to play.
Right.
And no one gets to play, and people know that it's your fault. But at the same time, it's also really difficult to make a decision like that because you're putting them on blast, and they're going to come back after you.
Yeah.
I ideally, like, this is me pipe dreaming it. Ideally, we have GW helping us run things and coordinating that kind of thing. But that's not going to happen anytime soon.
it's also a lot of, like, when it's an organization doing it, you open yourself up to things like defamation and libel and all that kind of stuff as well, which is
it gets really challenging. Sam Lemon points out that Australia and New Zealand have a national group that reports player behavior and helps in handing out bans and actions as necessary. That actually sounds really good. Expanding the Ontario group kind of does that to a degree. Expanding it to more of a national level would be really good. But then we would also like to work with more of the Northeastern guys. So the one benefit to the unified tournament circuit is that most of those TOs are now all in a chat. So if something does come up with a player locally, the TOs can be made aware of it. And whether there's disciplinary action or not, they can at least keep an eye on that player. And if something comes up, they know that there's a pattern there. It's not just a one-off.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Magic thing. Like, Magic has their own, they have a list, they have a situation. Like, it's all set in place. Like, you do, they have these. You have a ban for this long. It's documented. Everybody knows, what's going on. So, and I also like the deal of your local judge or the judge in your area. I guess this would work in like ITC format, or Games Workshop if they step in, where you have a representative for your state. And your state representative comes to you and goes, hey, man, so I hear you're at some events and I hear you're not doing so well at these events. Let's talk about this stuff because, if you are to continue to go to events, we need you to be better. So how can we fix this? What's going on? What's happening? So I think that would be really cool too. It's a lot of stuff, like it's a lot of work. And again, like you guys said, 90% of this stuff is volunteer work. So nobody gets paid, nobody gets done. And the thing about Magic is that there are, I wouldn't call them paid, but they're
compensated.
They are compensated, right? But they do take tests. They are compensated. So there is definitely a level of professionalism where they can do, this kind of work, and it is available for them to utilize the resources that they have, like their website, documenting things like that. So
to that point, it is kind of a good thing. Calzone Gaming points out that Magic is all centralized through Wizards of the Coast themselves and their digital TO system. So they have formalized this system. They have judge systems. They have judge tiers. They have training. They have certification. All of this, just it takes resources for Wizards of the Coast, but they've seen the benefit of it in their tournament system as a result, because it is players trust. If it is a Magic event, then you will have a tier 1, 2, or whatever judge involved with the event that will handle everything. And the most important part of that, because they are compensated and because they are organized through Wizards, there's accountability. So you don't run into the judge at this event said that my opponent could split fire at a boat and its contents. And when that comes up, you're just like, nothing we can do about that.
I mean, there's that too. There's also the set penalties, right? Like there's a set penalty, exactly what's going on. So instead of you being the bad guy who's like, well, he banned me from all these events for 2 years. It's like, actually, I didn't ban you. The higher, the actual rank system.
It was not me personally. I took this back, and this was the decision that was
this is set in stone on a piece of paper. You do this, it's this long of a ban. You do this, it's this long of a ban. Game losses, points losses, whatever it's going to be, that's what it is, right? And then it takes all of the stress off of you guys as judges, because you're not the ones that are going like, I don't know what to do here, so I guess I'll go light because I don't, like you guys said, I don't want to get in trouble, right? I don't want to be the guy who everybody hates because they made their friend, not be able to come to events or points lost and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and this is the thing Louis also points out. You can look up the match gathering penalty document. It's available to the public. This is actually something that I'm working on internally, following some feedback from this weekend. So going forward, most of the events that I'm going to be involved with running are being run in partnership with Dan Morris, friend of the show, and Nick Blackburn. We formed a little organization that we're calling Breath Weapon Gaming that's going to be running events out of the Ottawa, Petawawa area, but then also going elsewhere. We're kind of looking to do what was it, Away Games? What you said it was that did the Richmond Open?
Mm-hmm.
Looking to do something similar to what they do, where we'll run and coordinate our own events, but also be available as hired judges, as event consultants, or even runners for other people when they want to run local stuff. But one of the things that came up this weekend was I had to do a snap decision because someone was discovered to have an illegal list, and it came down to it. It was an issue with the Battlescribe output. And the player hadn't double checked to make sure everything was correct, and he was starting with 1 CP more than he should have. And he ran for 3 games with that extra CP. It was brought to my attention on the Saturday night. Sunday morning, I talked to the player, and as I was talking to the player, I was on the fly having to figure out how to handle it. So I got some feedback from both him and the player that he was playing at the table. It's like, you guys need to have some formalized penalties. They didn't feel that the penalty was unfair, but they did notice that I struggled to be like, this is what it should be, because I hadn't written that down. And so having those formalized penalties also makes it very clear. It's like, if you have an illegal list, it's 20 points in the yellow. There's no questions asked. There's none of this. You know what the expectation is. We were talking with some people earlier about how, just in general, events should handle late list subs. Because one of the things that has come up recently with GW previewing the new mission system is you're going to have deployment, mission rule, primary, scoring, a huge number of combinations. I can't remember what they said. I think it was something like 12 mission rules, 9 primary missions, and 5 deployments. So you have an insane number of combinations there. And there are some combinations that I'm sure certain armies will play to better than others. Knowing those ahead of time is an advantage. And so what some TOs are talking about doing is announcing those missions after list sub. But if you then say, well, I'll take the list penalty because I can submit late, knowing what the missions are and get an advantage out of that, especially if it's just a round 1 penalty, well, what does that do?
Yeah.
And so it's just figuring out the best way of dealing with something like that. We want to formalize that for that exact same reason.
I just think that just because the missions are changing, it doesn't mean we have to lose all control over them. I don't like that part of things, but I think that in general, lists should be list late submission should have a fairly stark penalty to it. But
I mean, for my events, I've always announced missions after list lock. Just makes things more interesting. All This Dust was an exception because Nick was working with me, and Nick was like, no, we need to have the missions defined. I was like, but it's more fun when your players don't know what they're expecting.
No.
You just have to expect there's 9 missions, you're going to play 5 of them or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Trolling.
Right, moving sharply on. Who's the best adder and subtractor on stat check? Anthony, every day.
That's right.
Anthony loves OC.
Yep.
OC versus OBSEC, which is better? We're not. Anthony's too long on this one. Anthony cannot answer this in a succinct fashion.
Yep. Oh, we lost on us.
No, just camera. Sorry. Needed to sneeze.
Okay, fair enough.
When do we have the hot takes or gossip episode for maximum algorithm engagement?
That's Cliff's thing. Hot takes is Cliff's show. We're not taking it off him. The second he wants to make it happen, we'll make it happen.
Yep. We will probably do another stats deep dive in a couple weeks as we review arcs since the data slate, because there's really nothing else to talk. And we'll also start doing some retrospective episodes because everyone likes talking about Harlequins at launch and Tyranids with Crusher.
I have some cool ideas for some retrospective episodes. We'll get some of those together.
Yeah. What else?
Can we have a toe pony emoji? Absolutely not. You guys didn't respond very well to my toe. You're not responding well to Tim's. So, that's definitely a Discord reference. Who do you feel the target audience is for this show, and who do you feel supports it?
I
don't know. I think. Sorry, Anthony.
I would say that the target audience is just like, it's a very wide range from like people interested in attending tournaments and math nerds through like people that are regular tournament attendees that are like bleeding edge chasing the meta and everywhere in between.
I think the philosophy we've always tried to go with is StatCheck is a vehicle for us to create the content that we would want to interact with, that we want to make, that we want to write, that we want to read, that we want to listen to, and the hope is that the audience follows us on that. There's a little bit of focus on like we try to make things that are aimed at different levels. Obviously, a lot of the discussion that we have on the show is kind of either toilet humor or aimed at each other's level of competence. Like there's kind of not much in between. That's disingenuous. Like we try to capture a broad spectrum, as Anthony said. But we make the show that we want, and we hope you guys are along for the ride. Is honestly the best answer I have.
Yeah, I would say that it was like what was done here was started out of an attempt to fill a void that we perceived, which was both stats coverage, but also skilled player commentary on the meta. And those two together is really important. And then it's branched into other areas, which we, again, have seen gaps in, like X and 1, where it's appealing to those that don't have a ton of time to commit to the hobby, but still want to do their best. And Enter the Matrix, where it's all about teams, because everyone here is super passionate about teams play, and there is very little content, if any, for team that covers teams.
Especially to that depth.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we tried to do a little bit on like making top level play accessible, like that you can see into the window of it a little bit, because it can be a little bit of a black box. I know there are a lot of people who are very good at talking about their experiences with top level play, but sometimes it can be a little bit opaque, and we do our best to, be normal human beings while we're talking about top level play, so that you can all see that the top best players of 40k are just little autistic assholes as well. I wish I was kidding. How does TJ like his eggs?
Over easy.
Nice.
Dippy eggs, as it were. Some people refer to. And
so, what kind of toast with them then?
Rye, sourdough, or rye. Either one of those is down. I'm down for. I do wear ties for every podcast because I wear ties every day.
I've seen TJ in PJs. It was terrifying.
PJ on again.
It's unsettling.
Again. So,
okay, which faction focus has excited each of you the most?
I think I was pretty excited that CSM didn't just get like on the 4th Tuesday of the random Wednesday, you get +1 to hit against Ultramarines in their deployment zone. So that was pretty cool. Demons is really fucking cool, and like cool enough that I will likely pick them up, but it wasn't as exciting as CSM getting like vaguely functional rules. I was actually like legitimately surprised that happened.
Yeah, like all the chaos stuff with less of the randoms that they have in this edition, I was excited for. So
I personally thought the Marines one was the most interesting one we've seen. So I really like the dynamics of the combat doctrines, and I think that's a super cool, interesting way to give Marines flexibility without giving them raw power. And I like Marines, and I wasn't that impressed by the NIDS one, and those are the two main factors here. Be'lakor is the most impressive data sheet you've seen, though. That was by far the one I'm happiest with.
no, it's the Swarm Lord. Come on,
That was a spicy take, saying that the Marine Lords don't give them raw power, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't just give them stats. Like, that's what I was like. Doctrines without just being, hey, here's
the doctrines on their own.
Yeah, like I was fairly, and then like Gulliman's data sheet looks cool as hell. Like I was fairly happy with the Marines one. Now,
yeah, I'm excited. How many
one I like the Swarmlord data sheet and not much else. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out a hot take here. I actually really like the Necrons one, and the reason for that is because I am fed up with reanimation protocols in 9th edition, because it slows down the game so much.
Dude, I have it on good authority that 10th is going to be really fast if you don't interact with 40% of the mechanics every turn.
Or what? I'm fully OPSEC with pregame move for every Necron player in the entire edition. That's all we had.
Yeah, just mark me down for 15 on no prisoners. I don't care, because you're going to mark me 45 on these.
Yeah,
I really like those one of the guys in one of the Discords I'm in was like, so I played against 18 Necro Destroyers and I killed 47 of them. How many do you think were alive at the end of the game?
Yeah, Necron Warriors are BS4 plus, but if when they're led by a lord, they get +1 to hit.
And no one's really running Necron Warriors. It's a lot to each other here. Come on
Yeah,
now.
they're also leadership 7, which is the same as a guardsman, which just seems wrong. But
Or you can
Well,
just
the big
make
thing is-
or they'll be cheap as shit. And you can take a giant fucking pile of them that come back
Yeah, like if
alive.
Silver Tide is back, then that reanimation protocol, especially if you can trigger it out of your own command phase, will be fucking hilarious.
there's no way Reanimators and Ghost Arcs don't do that as well, by the way.
Of
Like,
course.
there's
they don't
flat,
just
no
stack.
chance whatsoever. And
And we haven't seen the
reanimation,
Final King,
reanimation
right?
orbs.
Yeah,
Resurrection
there is
orbs?
so much more to be
Like, there's
seen there,
no
but
way there aren't like 4 ways to trigger that.
No.
the
Yeah.
base ability is there. Tell me that there is a lot of potential.
We'll see how it goes.
So
Yep.
that's one had me most excited.
I like the idea of leading into the zombie horde aspect of Necrons a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, it makes it so that I specifically won't play them, but it is really good for making sure that they're enjoyable to play against, and I'm excited for them to be around in that fashion.
Exactly.
Yep. I don't think personally I've been disappointed. The other half is just don't think I've really been disappointed by them. I think the guards is the most stale, but I also think that that's guards faction identity. So,
Yeah, guards was quite boring.
but I also I was broadly happy to see orders move to a more simple
Yes.
plan that still contains power, but isn't like
Yeah,
18
not
different orders
cascading.
from
I think I
Not
just get
cascading orders
gaslit.
is great.
I think I
No,
just
it-
get gaslit by a guard player every time I play them. They're like, I'm
I,
gonna
I've
do
just
the...
I've
Yeah.
just started refusing to acknowledge an order unless there's a token on the board. If it doesn't say there's an order on that unit, there's no order on that unit.
They're
I
like,
like
oh,
that.
I'll just do this order, and then this unit gets it, and then this other guy does this order, and then all these guys get it, and then everyone on the board gets it. I'm like, sure, man, whatever, I don't care.
I
Tell
will
me how
say,
you score inflexible command for 5 this turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I played
Boots.
2 games where I put tokens on every single unit that would get an order, and I gave up on that because it was just impossible. Like
See?
it
I
don't
slowed
care.
the game down so
If
much.
you
So it
don't mark
means
it doesn't exist.
it means that order system never should have existed like that.
Sure.
Probably not.
Which it appears, at least from the preview that we got, the regimental tactics, the order spreading is gone.
This is like 24 trained 6 orders.
Yep.
God, please no. The one thing that I did also really like from the guard preview is getting cover if you're behind a Baneblade.
That
Yes, that
explodes
was
for
cool.
That
D6.
explodes for D6 plus 2 mortal wounds.
I did not like the autocannon being like 1 point worse on stats than the battle
Yeah, we
cannon.
won't talk about that. There is definitely some weird things that they've done with this granularity that they found.
Yeah, I do like the broad AP reduction though. It's kind
It's
of,
also
but it
weird
feels like
you-
you look at a bunch of
you
stations
feel
and
like
there
the
isn't any
Stormlord.
reduction.
What happened to the Swarmlord, Dennis? Come on now. Big
He's-
Swarmlord fan. Love the stats for
fine.
him.
He does vecty stuff. Like he's not really a beat stick, but he's still pretty okay in combat.
He's getting melee.
I like him. He's cool.
No.
He's he's probably like the least powerful of the centerpiece units we've seen in terms of like raw stats, but has some really cool extra rules that go with that, and will probably be cheaper. Like I'm cool with that. He's also a leader, so he can go in units. Parent guard are going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Oh, that
that's
is
really
actually
cool.
kind of terrifying. Oh, I forgot that he gives you a CP in your command phase.
Yeah, he gives you an extra speed, and he just gets to say your command roll costs 1 more. Screw you.
He's definitely cooler than like the monolith, right?
Yeah, but I don't.
Oh,
really
no.
consider
The monolith
better.
is super cool.
I don't
Also,
That
the
thing-
monolith, just like has Veil of Darkness stable to it. Like that's cool
Yeah.
enough.
But no, it's not Veil. It's grab a unit somewhere else on the tabletop and teleport it to the
Yeah,
monolith
exactly.
No,
with
that is
no
cool.
restrictions on
combat.
where it can be placed aside from wholly within 6 of the monolith.
Yeah, that won't be
Combat.
frustrating to to use the rules.
And
all
with the
along.
monolith, they also preview that sustained hits can have any value, including D3.
I think
Yeah.
we knew that already because they previewed Tesla, but
No, because Tesla was sustained hits 2. This one
Yeah.
actually had a variable value to it.
oh right, they
So like
showed
we
that.
could see something like
1, 2,
wild
or
that's like sustained hits D6 because it's funny.
hell yeah.
Fucking please
That's-
no.
That is the souped up shocker, and it's coming back.
Yeah.
2d6 shots, sustained hits, d6. You're now.
No, that's just the new DACA rule.
Ugh.
Yeah, the war roll, all your DACA weapons become sustained hits, d6.
Oh,
Just orc player just rolling themselves into a stupor in the corner.
Yeah, Mark Roberts, I agree. The Void Dragon does look decent. My one concern with him is he doesn't have leader, doesn't have independent operative, and only has half damage, which means he shows his face, he dies.
Does he have stealth?
I don't
I didn't even
remember.
like the Void Dragons, actually.
Probably not, right?
Necrons, look at the data sheet. Where is he? Void Dragon. Void Dragon? We don't know because we just saw the spear.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
Or did they
All
just say he has half damage?
I think they said it somewhere. I don't actually remember anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of rules that are like, does he have that? Was that the other one?
Yeah, it was mentioned somewhere. I don't know. Give me the damn index, GW. Just let me read everything at once, and then we can actually have informed hot takes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I like that all of the like tank, all the characters, all that just like heal D3 in every command phase as well. Like you'll probably be able to kill for that reason alone.
Yeah,
That's
you
true,
don't
actually.
get skull dragged by precision weapons.
Living metal.
Right. Next one. Do you think the 10th Combat Patrol has a chance of being a viable tournament format? Probably not.
No.
I think it'll be an interesting one, but I don't think it's going to be balanced enough for that.
It'll be a good beer hammer or like Friday night with the friend with the guys thing. What it will be is an excellent way to get people into the game.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
reckon
can
it'll
say,
be for strong
buy this
leagues and
box,
things like
show up Thursday nights, and you play with this box, and all the rules are already ready for you. You don't need to make any decisions about building your army. They have been balanced against each other, supposedly. I don't really know how 20 Poxwalkers balances against a Redemptor, but...
Poxwalkers and Typhus, thank you.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Makes things so much better.
Guys. Just play Kill Team. Do you think the Demon's Deep Strike mechanic gives any leads to the GSC Deep Strike mechanic? Probably not. I don't think it's...
I don't think the correlation is the same, but it does mean that they're going to keep some form of deep strike in for GSC, which is heartening because, like, yeah, you know,
I don't think you could get rid of it. That's like the only.
Right, but it's part of their mechanic. Like it's part of their identity.
Right? You know, you just never know. So this allows you to at least be like, okay, well now I know they're going to get something, right?
I wouldn't bet on it. It's Gene Star cults, bro.
They could be. I don't know.
They're going to lean really heavily into the truck side of things, and they just all Mad Max style.
Yeah, they could be a
I hope they lose their deep strike, and now they have to everything is transports.
All right. Well.
Anthony, we heard you've been playing a bunch of AOS lately. What has been some fun lessons learned from AOS, and how would you summarize the game?
So there's a lot of stuff in that game that you like can't do in 40k. Like I've been playing Blades of Corn in that game, right? And not like to compare them with World Eaters, like they could not be more different. There's just a lot more room for the game to just like get crazy. That said, I've said this about Sigmar in a couple of places now. Sigmar is a fun game. It is not a good game. It is like hilariously unbalanced. Like the things that armies can do are very silly. And as much as people try and tell you that the double doesn't matter, it just so does. Armies in that game are crazy fast or have like some of them have insane shooting. So sometimes you just get dealt with if you get doubled. And like if you're playing the game to like fuck about, that's not such a big deal. Like I haven't super minded having that happen because I don't really care. But if you do care, and then it's tough. Like I could never see that game replacing 40k. On the Sigmar topic, Jack took them to a GT for the first time this weekend and won it. So that community is probably slightly less competitively developed. He played a super major winner in round 1, then 3 of the 4 people that are expected to be on a 4-person team that'll win Kansas City, and then a guy that was 4-0 in the finals and won all of those games in his first GT. So
this is Jack Harpster.
Yep. So yeah, it's just it's a good time. It's a good time. It's not like a, you know, you don't play like, at least for me, I wouldn't play Sigmar as like a test of my skills as a war gamer, but it is a good time to be like, woohoo, corn stuff, bam, I just moved 8 times.
Okay. Sam asked the question about what we generally do at a team event review or recap. That's like a 4-hour question, Sam. I'm really sorry. Go and watch the Alpine review. That's the best I can do to being like, this is how we did a team event review or recap. Yeah. And TJ, what would it take for you to pick up tyranids again?
Not much. Like, give me rules that aren't like, hey, it's warrior spam. You play it or you don't. Or like, you know, 9 zone thropes running across the table. Like, the reason I like tyranids is the lore-based stuff. So I'm very much into the lore. I read all the books. I, you know, very much into the Horus Heresy books. You know, I read all this stuff. Right now I'm reading Gaunt's Ghosts, some of the old ones. So the lore of Tyranids is very much like the Endless Swarm, but in the past couple editions, the Endless Swarm sucks. Like, you're not playing units of Gaunts, Hormagaunts, really. Like, Raveners were only good if you were playing them in Kraken with like a double move. Like, you're not playing a very diverse army. You're playing like 18 warriors plus 2 tyrants plus some gargoyles for movement and then endless spore mines. So I want to see more of like everything, has a place, because that's what Tyranids are about. Like, things are engineered on battlefields to deal with certain threats, and that's why Tyranids are really cool for me.
So Tyranids thematically should be the spammiest armies because they're just perfectly printing exactly the right thing for this fight, right? Like, you should always be just playing like, if Stonecrusher Carnifex is the best unit here, your army should just
No, stop. Because and the other thing too is like no army has like 3 tyrants, right? And I get like thematically, like in a lot of armies, this is the same case. Like with demons, like there is like triple demon princes running around, or like Be'lakor with the Lord of Change, you're just fucking hanging out and high-fiving each other. I get that. However, like Tyranids this edition was felt very polarized with that aspect, like 18 warriors, 2 tyrants.
To be fair, 2 hive tyrants does represent like a 50% reduction in the minimum amount of 5 tyrants.
It's true. I played when they were 5. I played when they were 6. Like I played 10.
No, or TJ would also accept Crusher back.
Yeah, Crusher was so much fun. Mostly because Anthony wanted me to play Crusher. It channeled Anthony for me. Anthony was like, TJ, you have to do this for me since I cannot.
You're still upset you never played that, right?
Anthony? He was so like, I've never seen Anthony more proud of me than when he was the table behind me and his Harlequin buddy, brothers in arms was playing. And he was like, yep, I'm playing Harlequins. Crusher. He's like, I'm pretty sure I know how this goes. This should be pretty good. And like Anthony turns around later on and he's like, what's the score? It was like 27 to 100. And Anthony's like, my man. He came over and hugged me. Like, I didn't win the tournament till later. Like, I didn't do any of that stuff. I didn't go undefeated. It was just like game 3. But he was so excited because he was like, I cannot do this, but you have done this for me. So
yeah. Thank you for doing what I could not.
That tournament was my first one with Light, and it was a real experience.
Yep.
I'm going to skip that one because we more or less answered it. Zane asked, what do you think is the best strategy to get over anger or frustration or panic responses in games? Is it better to just accept that the game's done because your mental state's in the share, or try and push through the mental block?
I don't typically experience that unless my opponent is truly awful. But a lot of that comes from having 13 years of experience competing in various things before I got into 40K.
Well, I mean, you had the literal shit kicked out of you. So
yeah, I was gonna say some of them were like literal fights. So like, I think for me, a lot of the like when a game gets stressful, the most stressful a game ever gets to me is like, I'm gonna lose a game of Warhammer and that's all right. But I know that like, it's not helpful, right? Like it's like I don't have helpful advice here because it's like I'm able to stay pretty even keeled because it's like the worst thing that happens if I lose. But if the losing is what's making you panic, that's not helpful, right? So I don't really like, I can sympathize, but I can't empathize.
Yeah.
Can't win them all, right? Cannot win everything. If you were going to win everything, then you're playing the wrong game. You should play something where there's money involved so you can actually go and make some money. Like, don't play this if you just never lose, right? So
did I tell the Mike Brandt announcement story on the show last week?
No.
Okay, so Mike Brandt comes on the loudspeaker at the start of Warhammer Fest and is like, every single one of you will lose this tournament. And I looked at him and I went, fucking way, I won't.
Not me.
Not me.
Innes took that one personally.
Yeah.
I literally looked at people like my teammates. I was like, no, not happening.
Does your teammates include Brian? Because he clearly does not feel that way.
Well, Brian actually lost 2 games that tournament. So.
Yeah, got him.
But I think like The more games you lose, the more comfortable you get at it, and you understand that like it's all part of the process, right? And the last thing I'll say is you learn more when you lose than when you win. And if you're winning games and just going like, "Nah, I won, it's cool," you're doing it wrong. You should be learning something from when you win too. You should be analyzing your gameplay and understanding you could have done a better job. So if you do both those things, I think you prepare yourself a little better for when you lose games.
Yeah, I'll quickly touch on this one a little bit more because I have a really shit relationship with losing games of 40k. I am really bad at it. I do not enjoy it, and I get very negative when it happens. No, I know, right? Who'd have guessed? I struggle a lot with losing in 40k because it's a lot of like personal identity, and being good at it is something that I expect myself to be. So like it's always difficult. And then like being a socially awkward nerd on top of that, just like it gets awkward when you're at a tournament. You're like socially burned out, and also you're having to be like nice to the guy who's just ruined your dreams. So it can be difficult. Best advice I've got for it is that you, for starters, are going to have to push through it to some degree, because if you want to continue playing 40k, you're going to lose games of 40k. It's definitely something I've gotten better at over time. I have the advantage of I've lost more games than most people will play of 40k, which is always a weird thing to play, because even if you win 90% of your games, if you play 300 games, you're going to lose 30 of them. There's just no way around that, right? Nobody is maintaining that consistently great. Try and like a little bit detach it from like, are you enjoying the process of playing the games of 40k? Like, do you enjoy just playing games? If not, maybe consider whether like practicing for events and things like that is right for you. Because if you're just the only thing you're enjoying is the outcome, you're not actually enjoying the process very much, and you're just putting yourself through the ringer for it for no reason, maybe reevaluate your relationship with it. Maybe consider how much you want to win versus how much you are making yourself do it for the sake of it. I know that's not super helpful in terms of like, hey, if this is a thing you want, then you're going to have to push through it. If you look at it back and you realize it's not a thing you want, consider how much you're putting yourself through for the sake of something that you're just doing because it's there.
I remembered a better answer. So one of the major like selling points, as far as I'm concerned in coaching, is actually that you can get specific preparation so that when you get to an event, like I find for me at least, a lot of the things that like trigger those like, oh shit, it's getting crazy moments where I'm like freaking out is stuff that I'm not prepared for. Like I didn't know how to handle a situation. Now I've ended up in that situation. I've fucked around and found out, basically, and the finding out process is very stressful sometimes. Usually what you like leading into an event, if you are like well practiced and going into it with enough practice games, you can avoid a lot of those feelings because you don't have to be as anxious. You don't have to let like the imposter syndrome, so to speak, win, because you can be like, no, I prepped, I am prepared, I know what to do when this happens, and you can have like a more positive framing of the experience that way, and that helps me a lot.
Yeah, the other one is just like take a step back. If you're having like something go wrong in a game and you're having like an actual stress response to it or something like that, like tell your opponent or just sit down for 2 minutes. If you're playing a practice game and you're just like playing with a friend, nobody's going to care, especially if you've let them know beforehand it's something that could happen or things that's likely to happen if it goes going bad. Give yourself the space and give yourself like be there for yourself a little bit, right? Back yourself in terms of understand what could happen, have a plan for it, hope it doesn't happen, try and do better next time, right? That's all you can really do, is just do a little bit better next time. If it takes you 5-10 games of having this go through and you think that's worth it for you, then just try and do a little bit better every time. That's all you can really do.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that we've said multiple times on this pod with regards to winning the mental game is don't be afraid to take a break. Either like a long break, a short break. If you're in the middle of a game and you find yourself getting anxious and pent up and built up,
5 minutes. Clock to you.
Yeah,
fuck
clock
off.
to me. I'm going to go take a breather. I'm going to go take a walk. I need to just clear my head. I want to enjoy this game with you. It's nothing against you. Like, reassure your opponent. There's nothing wrong. It's just I got to clear my head. I want to enjoy this game with you. I'll be back in 5. Go walk around the venue. Go get some water. Clear your head.
Pick up smoking for it, but if you do smoke, go for a smoke.
Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't recommend taking up smoking as a coping mechanism, but if you're already there,
bathroom, water, just
take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's important, you know.
And sometimes maybe you take a break from the game for a little while. I've done that a couple times where I've been on the edge of kind of event burnout, and I've been like, I'm not going to go to that event because I'm noticing my play is starting to suffer. I'm getting too hung up on the mistakes that I'm making, and I'm not enjoying myself.
Oh, this is not necessarily good advice, but
good.
Maybe play a different army. It's real easy to. A lot of the armies in the game are like way more stressful than some other armies. If you're out there trying to like 48-step Galaxy Brain with GSC, maybe take some time and play some,
World Leaders.
Crusher. I don't really actually recommend World Leaders. That one phase life can be stressful as shit if you're actually trying to win games.
Yeah, but you play quickly even if you play badly.
But I think
that doesn't feel good either. Like,
but I think that's one of the things that you guys are talking about, where you guys are like, identify the reasons in which you are playing this game, right? Are you playing this game because you want to win? Well, then maybe you should play a different army, right? Because maybe you should play something that's stronger, something that has less losing,
conditions.
So I mean, like, it's definitely something important. So
there's also things said like, if you're gonna go down the spiral, give yourself a binary win condition. Isn't the worst. You like play an army that just does its thing, and you can autopilot it, because that's the best thing for like getting your head into like thinking about all the things around the game is to not think about the game as much.
Right. Yeah.
Don't try to solve two issues at once. Like, fix the variables.
Yep. All right. What else we got?
Right. We got TJ. What would it take for you to run the AOR Zangor list at your next event?
A whole bunch of money.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of money.
Pay for his next 3 events after that, and he might do it.
Yeah, that would be pay for me to go to WTC to go to War Masters, and then I'll do it. No problem. I'll do it with a smile on my face. I'll fucking dress up in a goat outfit. You won't even. I'll fucking do it, man. I'll go to the costume shop, get a fucking goat head, and I'll wear it.
You have to spray it blue, obviously.
No worries, dude. I'll paint it blue. I'm not gonna spray that shit. I'm gonna fucking airbrush and do all the highlight details and shit. I'll come in wearing a pot and pan instead of a sword and shield. I'll just have a satchel and a pot.
Yeah.
We'll do it. I'll do the whole thing. You just got to pay for me to go to WTC. So it is what it is.
There's also a general question.
I'll make goat noises on the table.
There's a feedback request for a T-Sons list, TJ. I'm not doing that on the show. Go take a look and check if you have a chance.
Someone can shoot me the list. I'm in stat check, so if you guys have questions, you can
literally
Evader, just ping TJ in the Chaos channel.
Yeah.
And that's it. So anything from the chat? What do you think of the mission previews, and do you think they will work well in a tournament setting? Yeah, they'll be fine. The missions work fine now. They'll just be a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
Adaptation time.
We'll be sitting there against my elder opponent, and like, I really hope, please just not Dawn of War. Not Dawn of War.
I'm not. Uh-oh.
How much are plane tickets? I saw, bro. I don't know, man. That trip's probably going to cost like $3,000. I'm not going to lie.
It won't be that much. I fucked around.
2.5. Depends if you can get shared accommodations.
I went to Scotland.
It's 2.5.
It was less than that because I went to Scotland first, and the whole thing was like 2.
I mean, I still got to go get the hotel. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. I would assume like $2,000. Sure. Yeah. You gave me $2,000 to go to an event and run Goat Boys, I would do it. No problem.
Fuck out them goats.
Yeah, I would fit the fuck out of
a Reaper carry is legit for World Eaters. I don't think that unit exists, bro. Like,
Rapier it does exist. No, it exists. It's real. You can run it.
You take the quad heavy bolter ones.
Yeah. When the World Eaters when they finish lugging it onto the battlefield, they get in their bloodlust and they run. Actually, the people who are running the vehicle they run away from it. So you actually don't get to use them.
You can set it up on the field, but then that unit becomes a squad of 5 berserkers, and your list is over there, and it goes over there.
The World Eaters are just like chucking the Rapier mortar battery at, just like throwing the grenades.
How much to play goats at War Master? Double it.
We're playing
$4,000.
So I don't even know that I could do it at $4,000 because like I'm trying to like get the sportsmanship up. Everybody have a really good time playing me.
I mean,
like,
everyone have a great time.
Yeah, I bet. Thankfully, I don't think goats are going to be an army when we get to 10th edition. But
dude, what if that's their detachment?
No, stop, dude.
Faction Focus Thousand Suns. It's
we
actually
get our
just
faction
goat.
focus, and they just talk about the cults of change. It's all goat. It's just a goat preview.
Yeah,
The Sangors, the goat shaman. I'm
Talked
like,
about
where the
Chaos
fuck is
Spawn.
Magnus? I'm like, nah, Magnus is off in the fucking,
You're allowed to run Goat and the Lord of Change, so you
Yeah.
can have the farm list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I-
you get the
Chicken
chicken and
and
the
goats.
ghost, bro. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm playing Farm Life here. I'm playing Sims right now.
Yep.
Right. Should we finish up?
Yes, probably.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for being with us. TJ, would you like to do your plugs?
Sure. Yeah. So I have a Patreon, Lord of Chaos. I also have a Facebook page. Facebook page is free to join. I do a sit and chat every week where you guys can ask questions. I'll be doing a lot of stuff coming soon for 10th edition. I'm sure when me and Anthony get the books for 10th edition, we will be doing some stat check videos / stuff to go over chaos things.
Like we did
So
with
we'll be
you.
doing that. And my Patreon is $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee, and I do tons of videos, recaps, and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for being
Pleasure
here,
to have
TJ.
you.
We also have a bunch of stuff. I mentioned it earlier. I should probably mention it again. patreon.com/statcheck. $5 a month gets you access to our Discord and all of our bonus content. Anthony, I don't want to. Is it the missus? Is it the cat?
No, it's just the like we have stuff. Ah, fuck! I should talk about it. That's how I pay the bills. It was just like, yeah, bro, you probably should do.
Yeah, I know, but it's always I know that I have to do it and I volunteer, but it's always a little bit of a chore. Otherwise, youtube.com/c/statcheck is where you can catch the live show every Tuesday at 11 p.m. GMT, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Good job.
I'm getting there. I'm
did
learning.
it.
I'm learning my numbers. I got to know the numbers for OC, so I'm learning.
You gotta count the tricks, guys.
Otherwise, check out the other shows on our network, which are also available on the YouTube channel. That is Enter the Matrix and X1. Finally, there is coaching available if you're interested. That is via myself and Typhus. Just drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com and let us know who you're interested in speaking to, and we're more than happy to drop you a message, set up an introductory call, and all that kind of thing. Days since last related shenanigans, 0. That is always the truth. There are always goat-related shenanigans.
Constantly.
It's my
having
favorite
to
Taylor
reset
Swift
the
song
clock.
is the one with the goat. So that's all I got. That's all I got.
We did it.
That's all you
Creation.
goat.
Thanks
Oh,
everybody
fuck.
for being with us. We will catch you next week.
Bye bye.
Nerf
See ya.
vote, man. Oh.